guys, I'm Layla. Today we're going to be reading another live lore story for Raid Lore Stories channel. And Twitch chat today, they chose Michinaki, so I hope you enjoyed this story. When the Michinaki autocracy rose to power in Yokai, its mortal leaders made no secret of their allegiance to Siroth. Most worshipped him as the prime deity of their new kingdom, but some went a step further. They sought out the shadow god himself and gave him their souls to become a demon spawn. The warrior known as Michinaki was one such wretch. A skilled and deadly leader of the Michinaki autocracy's armies, he showed no hesitation when confronted with the offer of demonhood. He gave his soul and his freedom to Siroth, not then imagining that an altogether different form of imprisonment awaited him. Michinaki led the autocracy's foremost army, the Legion of the Horned Skull, against the rebellion growing in Yokai. Many were his victories, and many were the traitors his forces slaughtered in battle or in the pursuits that followed, or nailed to posts on the side of roadways as a warning to others who would dare defy the Michinaki. Still, however, the tide of the war turned slowly and irrevocably against the servants of Siroth. The Legion of the Horned Skull's victories became ever more pyrrhic, and the strength of the rebels grew as they learned how to fight the Michinaki's armies. Eventually, perhaps inevitably, Michinaki suffered defeat. A rebel force led by a Dawnland sorcerer known as Taimo succeeded in ambushing the Legion of the Horned Skull. All of Michinaki's warriors were cut down in the bloodbath that followed, and Michinaki had every intention sharing their fate and being sent to Anathrad as a result. Taimo, however, had other ideas. Knowing that holding one of the Michinaki's foremost commanders prisoner would be a powerful sign of how far the rebellion had come, Taimo had Michinaki bound in physical and magical irons and fetters, which contained his physical strength and arcane power. The sorcerer, however, had been jaded by the long war and decided that captivity was too good for a monster such as Michinaki. He unleashed the full wrath of a sorcerer's power on him, torturing him as assuredly as Siroth tortured those who displeased him. The green fires that he summoned burned Michinaki's flesh from his warped bone and twisted him into an even more horrifying visage of pain and suffering. The arcane flames, born out of dark magic, burned Michinaki night and day, and his shrieks of pain echoed through the rebel encampment he was held in. He swore bloody vengeance on Taimo, but the sorcerer laughed in his face. At last, it was the Michinaki who suffered, and not the common folk of Yokai. Michinaki's torture may have continued indefinitely, had not a gentler soul intervened. Fearing that Taimo's actions had passed from being justified into excessive, the sorcerer's apprentice waited until the rest of the camp was asleep, then undid Michinaki's bonds. Surely the broken, smoldering creature had learned his error, and was now no threat to anyone. The opposite was true. As soon as the shackles were undone, Michinaki's power was unconstrained. He snapped the apprentice's neck and retrieved his sword before hacking a path through rebel soldiers to Taimo's tent. Taimo unleashed his magical fires at Michinaki, but found they no longer hurt the demon spawn. The flames, always rooted in dark magic, betrayed Taimo, instead obeying Michinaki as their new master and enveloped him without causing harm. The demon spawn had passed through the inferno and emerged stronger. Michinaki beheaded Taimo, bound the severed head in the chains that had once held him, and set it aflame with his new powers. After defeated Taimo, Michinaki fought his way from the camp and disappeared. Soon after, the Michinaki autocracy fell, but the campaigns of one of its greatest generals were not over. Michinaki was filled with a need for revenge. Even more than before, he became known as a dire, cursed warrior, and he continued to hunt down and slay those who had defied the Michinaki. Throughout it all, the demon spawn carried the head of Taimo. Its silent, agonized expression showed that the sorcerer was somehow still conscious, forced to experience the pain he once wreaked upon Michinaki, and incapable of doing anything but watch the demon spawn wage war upon the people of Yokai and their dwarven and sylvan armies. A rumor has it that Michinaki no longer acts alone, much in the same way that the rebels of Yokai slowly gathered their strength before striking. So it is now claimed that Michinaki draws the cursed and the dispossessed to him, forming a corrupt force of demon spawn and mortal Michinaki loyalists to rival his lost Legion of the Horned Skull. If such tales are true, more than just Yokai should tremble in fear. Wow, I gotta say that was a really good story. And this also now explains the head that Michinaki carries. Drop me a comment down below on what you thought of this lore story and who else's lore story would you love to hear. Thanks for watching.